Hello there, welcome to Tarot Shelf. This is the beginning of a Major Arcana symbol series I want to do in regards to exploring the symbols of the tarot and how this will help you to learn the tarot, how this will deepen your readings, strengthen your intuition, help you work with other kinds of cards, help you work with symbolism and archetypes. But before we dive into the cards, let's talk about what makes tarot so powerful, and that's its symbolism. It's not just a collection of pictures, it's a visual language. Every color, object, animal, landscape, and gesture has the potential to communicate an idea or emotion, things from the subconscious. And instead of memorizing 78 separate definitions, you learn to recognize patterns and symbols that tell a story. So I feel like this is a real important initiation into working with the tarot and, you know, really just getting to know the cards. You know, yes, I do think it's important to know all the meanings, especially getting into numerology and the numerical system. The numerical system and the symbols will become your most important tools in working with the tarot, and also being able to translate that into different decks that you work with. Because a lot of decks will use, they will look visually different, but they will use specific symbols to trigger that intuition. So it's learning to tell a story with the tarot. And that's why two people can look at the same card and notice different details. The symbolism invites observation, reflection, and interpretation. Yeah, I've seen people that had never studied tarot, and they're actually able to get a lot of information just from the visual symbolism in the card. So that's important to know. You can work with the cards without an extended study, and that's the purpose of the artwork on the cards. Is, you know, the artwork was there to trigger unconscious connection with the cards. So as you become more familiar with these recurring images, the cards begin to feel less like something you have to memorize and more like something you can naturally understand. There's an intuitive aspect to reading tarot. And this is not discounting like deeper study. We will probably be going way deeper. So whether you see tarot as a spiritual practice, a psychological tool, a storytelling system, or simply a way to explore ideas, symbolism is the thread that ties the entire deck together. And that's what makes it so powerful, is you don't have to have a spiritual practice or, you know, be initiated into like an occult group of people to understand the tarot. It's a very practical tool, and it has been for many, many years. And that's how I like working with it. I like working with it on different levels, because, you know, every card is like a portal into a deeper understanding of yourself. So throughout this series, we'll be looking beyond keywords and explore the symbols that give each card its depth and meaning. And by the end, you'll not only know what the cards traditionally represent, you'll understand why they represent those ideas. So let's begin by learning the language of symbols, because once you understand the language, the entire deck starts to speak more to you. So we're going to start here with the Fool. The Fool represents that leap of faith into the unknown, into trusting yourself, into becoming. It's an emanation. It's like the soul entering the body and entering this incarnation. I mean, if you want to go really deep. But it can also, on a mundane level, just mean taking a risk, coming out of your comfort zone, taking a chance on a new beginning, trusting in the universe, trusting in yourself, trusting that no matter what happens, you're going to land into this human experience and you're going to be okay. You have the tools that you need. Even when it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes the Fool can mean being overly impulsive, taking unnecessary risk. A lot of times if you're reading reversals, you know, I look at the Fool as maybe doing something impulsive or risky, or not wanting to take a risk on something, not necessarily being ready for a new beginning. So there's a layer of meanings that you can get out of the Fool card, out of any of the cards. There are deeper spiritual meanings, and then there are very practical, useful meanings for day-to-day practice and self-reflection. I like to use the tarot as a tool of self-reflection. You know, being really brutally honest with myself. Sometimes we need to have those patterns mirrored back to us. So look at the tarot as a mirror to self-reflect with when you're learning. So let's break down some of these symbols. With the Fool card, we have a cliff. The cliff is very important here because this is the edge of the known world. Sorry, I'll try to get you closer here. This is like the world that you're already, the landscape that you're already existing on. Your existing situation. Think of it that way. And you're on the threshold of leaping off of that. It's a trust fall. It's a threshold moment. An initiation into the unknown experience. This is the known experience. And at the bottom is the unknown experience. So that cliff is very significant. I'm going to use the disassembled tarot. This is interesting because it's actually, I haven't used these cards a lot, but it really breaks down the symbols. It lets you look at different things. And here's the threshold, the cliff, the initiation into that unknown. Or on a mundane level, this is like, okay, let's say you're talking about a relationship. Well, you know, the cliff is everything you've experienced up to that point. You may not know what your experience with that person is going to be. You don't know them yet. You don't know how the two of you will engage, what kind of connection it's going to be. So that's the unknown, is at the bottom, is leaping off of it. You're at that threshold of that new beginning, that new relationship, that new job. You know, you don't know, but it's like if you don't take that leap of faith, you'll never know, right? So that's what I love about the Fool. It's like you realize that if you don't do it, you'll never know. You'll never have that experience. And also there are some things you just don't have a lot of control over. It's like, it's a surrender. You'll see cards of control and surrender in the tarot. And I think the Fool definitely represents one of those moments where you're surrendering your comfort zone in the known world. And see, the dog represents that instinct, warning, loyalty, You know, think of dogs. They're domesticated. They can be domesticated or very wild. So there's like a dual element to the dog. The wild dog versus the domesticated. The domesticated dog follows the rules. They behave themselves. They have certain expectations. They have certain routines. This is breaking away from a routine. And also no longer being necessarily loyal to that routine. So that's something that, you know, you can look at with the dog there. That's your inner voice. Does it protect or does it distract you? Is it, or is it a comfort, or is it something that's holding you back? You know, responsibilities. You know, the Fool is not necessarily concerned with past responsibilities. So that's something to be aware of when you're working with the Fool card. Also, the white rose represents the purity and innocence, the spiritual longing. You can look at the Fool card as a return to innocence. It's 0 point energy, like jumping timelines. If you want to get really quantum with it, that's what I love about the tarot. You could spend a lifetime and still deepen your knowledge of the cards. It's actually quite amazing. But you're also craving truth beyond social roles. So you want to break out of some sort of social contract, or at least the social construct that you're used to, that you're familiar with. And the small knapsack. This is only what you need. This is like traveling light. Letting go of a lot of baggage. Yes, you have a few, it's like a little traveler's bag, right? A little cosmetic bag. You're traveling light. You're not bringing in a lot of baggage from your past when you're working in this energy. You already carry the soul's essentials on a spiritual level. It's like you can do this. Let's say you've been through the Tower moment. Some of you are familiar with all the cards. Some of you are completely beginning this journey. And it is a beautiful journey. It is worthwhile. But it's like you learn that the soul actually has what it needs. It is okay to let go of a lot of baggage and heaviness. That's another beauty of the Fool card. It's just like light, airy. It's Uranus, the planet Uranus, which is all about being revolutionary, breaking the rules, doing things differently. Very Aries or Aquarian here. If you're looking at the astrology of the tarot, a lot of people, you know, look at it both ways. But, you know, in the sun is illumination. It's the divine spark. It's source energy. All energy in our solar system originates with sun energy. That's a huge initiation to understanding the power of the sun. There's a lot written about the symbolism of the sun. But it's also bright, right? It's a new day. I like to see the sun in the card as this is a new day. You know how everything feels better? Like if you have a dark night, anxious night, and then everything feels better in the morning, or at least a little more illuminated. Not so scary. And it's like spirit is guiding this unconscious sleep. Spirit's guiding you. The sun is consistent. It's always there the next day. It always rises. And we're always rising to meet it. Or actually, it's like the earth itself reveals the sun again as it turns, as the world turns, right? So you have to think of cycles too when you're working with the symbols of the tarot. You know, mountains. Mountains are a significant symbol in a lot of Oracle, Lenormand, tarot. Mountains are obstacles. They're difficult, they're challenges, but you're going to the edge of that challenge and you're just trusting. It's like you're surrendering a major challenge here. We have all this yellow, solar plexus, confidence, willpower. Optimism, clarity, pure potential, pre-egoic consciousness, right? You know, it's kind of like young children, babies, they don't have a sense of self-consciousness yet. They're completely pure in their belief in themselves, their world. They explore their world with complete confidence until that's destroyed. But that, like we said, it's that return to innocence. And then you have the feather in the hat, air element, the divine breath. That's your intuition, the fates whisper. So the Fool isn't just naive. He is wise enough to leave safety for the call of soul expansion. This is the 0 point field. It's chaotic, but it's infinite. The Fool leaps not because he's reckless, but because something greater is calling them forward. So the shadow aspect of the Fool can be escapism, like we said, you know, taking impulsive, unnecessary risk or refusal to commit to something. There's a difference between escapism and freedom if you're looking at the shadow of the Fool. And it's also about repeating cycles instead of true initiation. So there's a lot of energy to work with when you're working with the Fool card. And I'm just going to do a quick tarot spread to close out this discussion of the Fool. And it's a tarot spread that explores 5 aspects of the Fool. The cliff, what edge are you standing on? The dog, what internal warning or instinct is calling to you? The knapsack, what spiritual or emotional tools do you have? The white rose, what is your purest intention in this leap? And the invisible net, what unseen force is supporting you on your journey? So we're just going to do a quick spread to really just to kind of hone in on that energy. And we can kind of just discuss how the cards play out. I'm going to use a different deck. This is based on the Rider Waite. You know, many of you, if you're learning tarot, the Rider Waite is really the best, one of the best. I mean, you can work with any deck, but it's really the best at triggering those intuitive hits, those occult hits. Like if you're more, like if you work with the cards long enough, you will literally see the original Rider Waite, even in other decks. You'll remember, it'll be like second nature to you. You know, you'll just feel those energies because they're so powerful. The Rider Waite, there was so much research and study that went into developing that deck. I think that's why it stands the test of time. It's one of the most useful of all the tarot decks that you have out there because it has that consistency to it and the practical side to it. So what is the edge that you're standing at in your life right now? This may or may not resonate. This is just a way to play with the cards. You have to think, what is the edge? What is the initiation? Could be that you're being initiated into learning tarot. This is a time in your life when it's really resonating with you. Yeah, you're learning. Page of Swords. So the edge you're standing on in your life, you're here. You're here to learn something. You're getting information. You're curious. So you're in a phase of gathering information. The Page of Swords is, representative of the mind, knowledge, communication. There's something that you can learn in this situation, more information. And what is your internal warning or instinct? What is your instinct crying out to you right now? What is the instinct? Knight of Cups. Some of you, your instinct is to be emotionally open and vulnerable. So you're getting the information, you're learning something, whether it's about something, the tarot, something that you're interested in, a person, but you're needing to open up your heart space here with the cups. You're needing to open your heart, trust in your heart, and you need to fall in love with the process. The best way to learn the tarot is to fall in love with the process of the journey. Because once you jump into the journey of the tarot and the Fool's journey, it's a wild ride, right? You have to be in love with that ride because there's a lot of dips and turns and whirl-arounds that you will experience. Your instinct is to lead with your heart, open up your heart to something. And what tools do you carry with your knapsack? What tools are you carrying here? Because you just come in, if you're learning tarot, just remember, you're coming into this with your own thoughts, your own experiences. Your experiences are going to be different than my experiences or someone else or another reader. That's what makes readers so diverse is, yes, there's a consistent system to the tarot, but every reader also comes into a reading with their experiences, their wisdom, their knowledge. That's what's so beautiful about it. The system works, but the interpretation can be very diverse. So what experiences do you have that you're bringing into your study of the tarot? Ooh, the High Priestess. You have a strong intuition. You may actually have natural psychic gifts. You may have already known this about yourself. Like you sense something's going to happen before it happens. You have very strong instincts and intuition. Some of you have already studied the tarot for a while. You've read books. You've read the cards. And you want to learn more. You're just curious. I love that. The High Priestess, you're ready. You are being initiated into deepening your study of the tarot. And obviously, if you've worked with the tarot, this is, basic level information. But some of you actually have a very natural ability to work with the cards. Because you trust your instincts, you trust your intuition, you have an open heart, you're open to new knowledge and information. You have to approach the cards with openness. People that are closed off don't tend to resonate very much with the cards. Or even if they do, they're really blocked. So it's like you have to open up to the wisdom and knowledge of the cards. Some people just brush it off like it's silly parlor games, but other people really know that there's something going on here. So if you're in High Priestess energy, you are ready for deepening your experience with the cards. And what is your purest intention? You have to be pure of intention. If you approach the cards with ego, this is just a warning. If you approach, and I've done it, everybody's done it. But if you approach the cards too much in your ego, you're not going to get the accuracy that you're looking for. You have to be willing to look at yourself very deeply and very honestly. So you're approaching this with pure intentions. You're not carrying the baggage of the ego here. You're going to have brutal messages come through, and they will, break your heart sometimes. Every reader has experienced that, like that tower moment where the cards are shouting at you, So you have to approach it with pure intentions. And if you're reading for somebody else, you cannot sugarcoat. You can soften it with your love and your emotions and your wanting to heal and share wisdom. It's not like you are brutal and nasty with the truth, but you have to be aware and compassionate when you're dealing with the truth, especially compassionate with yourself first and foremost. And then you're going to be able to share that with others. So the pure intentions here. The pure intention, the white rose. What is the... Oh, the Magician in the reverse. You can't manipulate the cards. A lot of people try to manipulate or distort the cards. And you can use the cards for manifestation. That's another video. But the pure intentions is you don't use the cards to manipulate and control others. I mean, you can. That's, a question of your own ethics and integrity. But we have the Magician and the Magician and the High Priestess. This is the outward manifestation, action orient, using the tools to manifest. High Priestess represents the knowledge. The Magician is how you use it, your intentions when you do a reading for other people, especially with other people. With yourself, you can do what you will, but the cards are very powerful. Just know that when you're getting into learning the tarot, working with the symbols, working with meditating on those energies, just know you're wielding a very powerful tool. Some of you don't know your power yet, especially if you're new to working with the cards. This video is more geared to newer readers or people just curious, whoever you are. I'm just saying that it's a powerful tool. You can't... What I'm getting here is don't underestimate the power of the cards. The unconscious power of what you're working with. Sometimes I'll do a reading and I'll think of things later that those cards were actually trying to tell me. So I'm needing the knowledge and understanding to be deep before taking action. And see, that kind of goes against the Fool energy, because this is about trusting, and you have to be willing to experience your power. Don't fear experiencing your own power, because you will. Don't underestimate your power, the power of the tools to work for better or worse in your life. So just know that it's gonna be light, it can be dark, it can be scary, it can be enlightening, it can be beautiful. The tarot is all of those things. And what unseen force is going to be supporting you on your tarot journey experience? What unseen force? Queen of Cups in the reverse. Like I said, it's going to open up your heart. Some of you have been brokenhearted. you struggle to love, to open yourself up. And there's this need to know that you are loved. The universe is a force to be reckoned with, right? The light and dark. The universe is pretty neutral. Like if you're getting into magic or tarot or reading, just know that there's a loving force that you have to trust in. I'm getting like an angelic presence here. But just know that you may not believe in that at first. It's the belief. It's kind of like the faith with anything. I mean, manifestation itself requires faith. So, faith that it's not about love or hate. It's like you're approaching it with an open heart and compassion for yourself, because you know the forces of the universe are at play. And nature is neither loving or hateful. Nature is nature, the universe. And you know, some people might not like this approach to it, but you're going to be working with extreme light and dark energy. Let's just put it that way. And there's a polarity that exists in the universe. Think of it like a positive and a negative charge, or a battery, how things actually work in the universe. But it's like there has to be this strong ability to love yourself, your life, trust in yourself, and love in yourself. The Fool's Journey is a journey in self-love. And it will strengthen that if you allow it to. That's where the power is going to come from. And knowing your power, having love for the world around you, is going to be one of your most powerful tools on this journey. That has to be really solid and strong, because you're going to face a lot of ebbs and flows, dips and waves. It's not linear. It's not just one straight line. So I'm going to close it out there. I hope this this first lesson on the symbology of the Fool was interesting or helpful, gave you some insight or encouragement. I love that when people show an interest in learning the cards and really want to approach it as a powerful tool. So I'm sending a lot of love and light to you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and meet me again, because we're going to be doing the Magician next. Thank you. Bye.